This segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
TFAE was established in 1991 by individuals in our community who wanted to support public education. Not necessarily that they had children in the school system, not necessarily that it was a venture that they thought, might be something that was of self-interest. And actually, I should say it was of self-interest, just that our community would get better in the way of education, which obviously makes Terrebonne Parish a better place. Again, that was in 1991. Since then, the TFAE has contributed over $2.5 million to teachers and resources to the school system here in Terrebonne Parish. In 2012, they actually adopted the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which helps preschoolers to get literacy. So along the way, it's been something that has been done by individuals who are just giving of their time to make sure that our education has what it needs to carry on in the best possible manner. That being said, I'm going to introduce you to a young man who is a charter member who was one of the first members of the TFAE board in 1991, Danny Walker, who is going to lead us in the pledge and the benediction. Mr. Danny Walker. We'd ask for everybody to please stand for the pledge and remain standing for the benediction, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can sit down. Benediction. Please just bow your heads, if you don't mind. Our Father, we thank you for giving us this opportunity to honor our exceptional students and to be a part of this great community that honors the excellence of our teachers and our students. Please continue to bless them and inspire them to do their best. And all of these things we offer in your name. Please bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
And I think in this room we have a major amount of influence and a major amount of wonderful people. And those influential people aren't the ones you just saw introduced. They are our youth. They are the people that are starting today to make a difference. And all those people you saw stand up, that is you. Maybe not tomorrow, but sure the day after. And all of us are waiting for you to come and take our roles in this community. But remember, that couldn't happen. That couldn't happen without your mom and your dad and your parents who are there always encouraging you and backing you up. But it also doesn't come at a small price. They have to dedicate their time and energy from when you were little bitty to where you are today to assure that they're investing not only in your future, but you're investing in the future of Terrebonne Parish. But I'm also here to tell you that it takes a teacher. And I am a strong, strong advocate of education. And as they mentioned and they introduced our young leader here, Mr. Danny Walker, he worked with us for a long time. Education is something my parents taught me a long time ago. It is something no one can ever take from you. It doesn't matter whether you have money or you have a house or you have that. If anything happened to all those things, what's in your head is your own. And you treasure that because that no one can take. A book no one can take. And so for teachers to dedicate their energy and time and for you to nominate those that made such a difference in your life tonight, what an honor tonight is. Not just to look at our youth, but to look at our teachers and to look at the parents that fostered that as we move forward. I think it's amazing that we also look at athletics and things like that, but Stan will know there was never a moment I didn't say, what about the education? Because they are just working harder. And those are our future because in essence, what I'm trying to tell you is in our organization, those are the people that are going to move us to tomorrow. As Stan said, you might see some of these pictures, but there are future doctors and nurses. And to run an organization our size is not just about the one who excels the most, because we have all walks of life in a city such as ours. We're over 1 million square feet of organization here in our particular area, but we're also in an entire community. And it takes community partnerships to make who we are. So it takes the school board, it takes the teachers, it takes the investment, it takes Ashley, it takes TFAE, it takes volunteer people. So everyone is investing in you. Everyone is investing for you to be the next people in the roles that you see. Give your all. Come back home. I'm always an advocate to leave because you'll find out the grass isn't that different. But what we have here is a culture and people who are always willing to find out that you are important and you mean something. So I have 2 children also. They're not children anymore. They grew up and they moved away just like I did. I swore I'd never come back. I originally grew up in Houma. My maiden name's LeBlanc. I'm from here. I can say these things. And I swore the minute I graduated, as far away as I could go, I was going to go. And I made it all the way to Lafayette. And so, but I knew my parents would have to call before they visited, so I would at least have a little bit of time to look like I was doing something great there, right? And so, in essence, then I moved to Baton Rouge, got married, and then we moved away to Georgia for about 8 or 9 years. I swore I'd never come back to this area. That was not what I was looking for. Till you have a family, your whole perspective changes. Because you want to invest in your children and you want to invest in our culture with those children. And you like them near grandparents and you like them near people. So it doesn't mean you give up on what your future is. It just means you make your future stronger with family, friends, and otherwise. And I don't regret a day that we came back. I came kicking and screaming, will not lie. But I have been in this role now 23 years as CEO, 30 years at this organization, and I don't regret one day. Now, both my kids are in medicine in some kind of way. I'm still trying to get them to come back home, but they're not far. They're in New Orleans and things like that. But they're just starting to have families. So guess what the priority is? Mom, can you help? Mom. I'm like, oh, well. And I will be honest. One will say, something's wrong with my car. Can you call somebody in home? I say, no. They say, can you call so-and-so so I can see him for a medical appointment? I say, no. I said, you know why? Go where you're at. See how good it is there. But it takes 6 weeks to get in, and it takes a little longer. I said, then you're going to start to treasure the things we treasure here, which is people and culture and relationships and all that stuff you can trust. And so they're learning that too. So I do challenge you, be all that you can be. But come back and contribute if that's what's right for you, because we've got a lot of opportunities here, and we've got a lot of people that are going to help you on your step up. They're in this room today. But they're in our community too. So thank you for being a part of who we are today. Thank you for TFAE. Thank you for excelling and making education so important. And thank you for honoring the people at your table who helped you get there, because it always takes a village. So I appreciate you here tonight, and we look forward to an amazing dinner. So thank you so much.
The Teacher of the Year in Terrebonne Parish on the elementary level, the Elementary Teacher of the Year, Miss Katie Scott. Oh my goodness, you're Katie Bouquet. I taught her.
And you were one of my inspirations.
Oh my God. You changed your name. Oh. Wow. Congratulations, Katie. Next, our junior high, middle school teacher of the year, Ms. Terralyn Parker Lewis. Ms. Parker Lewis is at Evergreen, and Katie is at Lisa Park. And our high school teacher of the year from H.L. Bourgeois High School, Ms. Jenna Hill. Hold on. Again, how about a nice round of applause for all of our teachers of the year? Congratulations. And now, our principals of the year. First, on the elementary level from Berg Elementary, Miss Amanda Giordano. Our junior high middle school principal of the year, Ms. Therese LeBlanc. And finally, our high school teacher of the year, Dr. Madge Gautreaux. Congratulations, Madge. And congratulations to all the principals of the year. Again, one nice round of applause for all of them for all they do in the schools. Come on. Now, what we would like to do is have Mr. Butler, Corey Butler, come up as our superintendent. A few words to you in his new role.
Just a few. Just a few. I was told actually before we got here that I could only speak for a few seconds because I tend to be a little bit long-winded after a while. But first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Stan. Thank you, everyone who put on this beautiful event to honor our inspired teachers of the year, all honored guests. I just want to say thank you guys for all the support that you've given us over the years. Thank you for all the support that you're going to continue to give us so that we may continue to impress and impact young minds. And I just think that on behalf of Terrebonne Parish School Board, we thank you for the partnership and the relationship that we do have, because I can tell you that without you guys' support, it would be very difficult to continue to support our students the way that we really need to give them what they need to meet them where they are. So I just want to say on behalf of Terrebonne Parish School Board, thank you guys. Thank you for this event just as well.
Thank you, Corey. And now, a few words from our leader, the executive director of the TFAE, Ashley Barahona. Ashley is going to talk to you a little bit about how inspirational teachers and outstanding scholars are chosen.
Thank you, Stan, and congratulations to you all this evening. Mr. Butler is correct. That's what TFAE is doing and trying to do and has done for the past 37 years, is impact young minds. We want to enhance that classroom experience, and we want to support our educators in the public school system, and that's what TFAE has been doing long before I came along as the executive director. Not only do we do it in our teacher grants and our literacy programs and our STEM programs, but we also have the second largest Dolly Parton Imagination Library in the state of Louisiana, in which we are able to give books to every child that is born right here at this hospital or any hospital in Terrebonne Parish from the age of birth to 5 years of age. And that is impacting the minds of our young children in Terrebonne Parish. And it is truly a gem that we have that, and we can continue to have that. And it's only with the support of our sponsors and the support of our community that we can continue that program and our teacher grants in Terrebonne Parish. So thank you all. Congratulations to our distinguished scholars. This is always the most wonderful night in our inspirational educators. Every year, we reach out to the 4 high schools and the technical school, and we ask the principals, the guidance counselors, the teachers, the janitors, to think about that child that they encounter on a daily basis that has overcome challenges in their life. Maybe roadblocks, obstacles, something. We all have challenges, right? But that one child that you know continues to strive and be the best that they can be, and to nominate that person as our distinguished scholar for TFAE. And some schools come back with 17, 18, 20, 30 different nominations, like, whoa, let's nominate, let's kind of bring it down. So I asked each high school to give me 6 of the best. So then all those nominations come to TFAE, and then we have a committee of anonymous readers that read the essays of those students. And from that, on a numeral basis, chooses 2 distinguished scholars from each high school and 2 from the technical school. And those are our distinguished scholars. So out of hundreds and hundreds of nominations from your school, you are now sitting in the seat as a distinguished scholar for 2026. So congratulations, parents, you should be very proud. Now from there, we ask those students to think back. I used to say from kindergarten, but now I have to say from pre-K to now y'all are seniors. So think of that one teacher, educator, guidance counselor, someone in the educational system that has impacted your life, who has really put an impression on you, that has treated you, like family, has gone above and beyond the classroom, has brought you and listened to your woes, has been more than just a teacher, but has been a friend, a confidant, and to let us know who that inspirational teacher is. And some people, I know right away who it is, and they tell me, and we're off to the races. Some people go back and forth of who it may be, because I know for me, I've had multiple educators who have impacted my life. But to the educators that are sitting in the seats tonight, you are the ones they have chosen. From pre-K to their senior year, of all the teachers they've encountered, you are the one that has impacted their life the most. So congratulations to all of our inspirational teachers as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to all those distinguished scholars and inspirational educators. So hope you enjoy the evening.
So we changed the format of this. In 2017, basically, we were here in the Atrium Auditorium at Terrebonne General, but it was a little bit more where we, quite honestly, sort of read an excerpt from the essay and then thought there has to be another way where we can get across what it's like, why this kid chose this teacher, why this teacher is special. So 2017, we started, and I have to thank Ms. Peoples for this. She allowed us to do this, or she allowed me to do this, to go sit with these people and intrude. Thank you, principals, for allowing us to go into your school and do this. And we basically sit with the inspirational teacher and the distinguished scholar, and we just let them start talking. And some talk a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I wish I could show you all of the video, but they're each about 4 minutes long. But I think it gives you insight to them just a little bit. So, without further ado, our first inspirational teacher and distinguished scholar.
when this sweet young lady walked into my classroom, I saw this little quiet, timid, shy girl, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's so cute, and just did not truly believe in herself. Great scores, great attitude, great work ethic, but still didn't see it. So I would go to her and I would push her just a little more or give her the confidence she needed to understand how phenomenal she is. She is one of the strongest writers I think I have ever seen in my career. And I've been doing this for a very long time. She is fantastic, up and down, side to side, all the way around.
Every day of my school life, I really push myself to succeed and reach for the highest standards because I want to create as many opportunities as I can for myself so that in the end, I can live a financially stable and comfortable life with a secure job and also the freedom to pursue any activities that I enjoy.
We were reading The Crucible last year when she was a junior in high school. And I know the characters and who they are before the kids do. So she raises her hand and decides she wants to be Abigail Williams. Well, Abigail Williams is the villainess of the Puritan era. So she didn't realize she was going to have to say some lines that were a little, risque about her committing adultery and such. And when she got into the lines, she went, you want me to say that? I said, yeah. And she goes, okay. And it was just funny because I knew when she raised her hand to do this part, I knew what was going to happen, and it did. And it was just precious, and I will remember that.
You just let it happen.
I just let it happen.
To be honest, I've never really been a big fan of English class. No offense.
Oh, no checking.
I'm really more interested in learning and applying mathematical formula.
Chemical engineering,
Yeah. And scientific concepts. So when I first stepped into Miss Overly's classroom, I thought that it'd just be like any other English class that I find boring or difficult to understand. But I was very wrong.
Aw.
She helped me actually enjoy English class and improve my interpretative skills when analyzing complex texts like Shakespeare's.
I became an educator because I wanted to give back. I had some great educators myself growing up, and I wanted to give back to the community, to kids, what I received from elementary to high school, even in college. I had some great educators, and I just wanted to give back what was given to me.
After I graduate from H.R. Bourgeois, I plan on attending Louisiana State University at Baton Rouge to major in chemical engineering. And after earning my bachelor's, I want to work for a major oil and gas company as an environmental engineer.
The people who influenced me actually started in elementary school, but the one that sticks out, or the couple that stick out the most, would be Diana Gabriello and Arlene Domingue. They truly inspired my love for English, and when it was time to go to college, I'm like, oh my God, what am I majoring in? And I'm like, English. And so they truly had a hand in that. And then Coach Gerald Albert really, out the classroom, taught me a lot, dedication, hard work, perseverance. And I got my love of coaching and more fulfillment from my sports career because of him.
I chose Miss Overly as my inspirational teacher because I really admire the lengths that she will go to give her students the most meaningful and engaging lessons. Because Miss Overly, she frequently assigns us hands-on activities for every unit, and they usually involve us moving around the classroom, rotating to different stations, or even creating slam poetry or songs from scratch. And my classmates and I love participating in those activities, and at the same time, we're learning the material in a way that helps us retain the information a lot better than just copying down notes. I also really love the fact that Miss Overly listens to the students and pays attention to their learning styles and different opinions, and how she'll try her best to adjust her lessons according to those aspects.
Oh, so sweet.
So I would like to introduce to you our inspirational educator, Ms. Jerry Overly from H.L. Bourgeois, along with the outstanding scholar from H.L. Bourgeois, Ms. Paola Diaz. Again, how about a nice hand for Paola and Miss Overly? A little foreshadowing, Miss Overly will be back a little bit later. Our next inspirational educator and distinguished student.
Trinity and I met Oak Lawn, the halls of Oak Lawn, 7th grade for her. Trinity personality is big. She doesn't meet a stranger, so it was impossible for me not to know who Trinity was because she's gonna make sure you know her. She's so loving and just passionate.
So when I first met her, I wasn't completely out of my shell yet, so I was kind of scared because she's a little intimidating, must I say. But like, it's not too much. It's just like her personality and her confidence is so big. So I'm like, okay, I don't meet her, let's go. Then once we got to high school, I was completely out of my shell. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me match it. So I started matching her energy and stuff. So we just became close, and it was like, I could come to her for anything because she gonna tell me the truth. She's gonna tell me the truth.
The world is changing day by day, and the influences of the world are having huge impacts on our youth. So while students have always been concerned about image, I do find that it's worse because we have this idea of perfection, especially with the filters and the makeup. And I see, and not just our girls, but particularly the females, I do see a lot of it. The boys, they still have those same pressures to look a certain way, have a certain aesthetic, and if they don't, then the world is over. I can't go to school. I can't do X, Y, Z because I don't look this way. So that is a huge change that concerns me.
There's a lot that inspires me to do well in school and class, everywhere, especially my parents. My parents, they're like, if you mess up one time, okay, let's not make it a habit. But they're on me constantly. Come on, do well. You have to do well in school. You have to do well in life. Education gets you far, whether you use it or you don't, but it could get you so far in life. And that's what they try to drill on me. Not really drill on me, but they just want to see me succeed. And so does the administration and stuff too. They do check-ins every once in a while. Let's see where you're at in school and stuff. And that helps a lot, so that way I know if I'm on the right path to going where I want to go. After I graduate from Eleanor, I plan on going to the Southern University of Baton Rouge to major in nursing to become a nurse practitioner. In 30 years, if everything works out according to the plan, I see myself probably not living in Louisiana, but somewhere near to, so that way I'm still close to family, but being a traveling family nurse practitioner, so that way I can work with families, but still travel and explore everywhere.
I jokingly say, especially when the pressure is on in education, that I'm about to retire and I'm going to be a fashion consultant because, as the kids say, Miss Spencer, you put that stuff on. I enjoy clothes and shoes and style.
She never made me question whether I was able to do it or not. The only thing she made me question was, am I losing my mind by not putting myself forward to try hard enough to do what I want to do? She kept me on the right path. Anything I ever needed, whether it was personal and me just wanted to talk about how's life going, or if it was school related, me saying, I don't know if I could do this. She always encouraged me to keep going and it's gonna be okay.
I do need a magic wand. And I say that one because there's a lot of things that are outside of children's control that I would just wish I could fix it. Because no matter how much I love them, no matter how much they work hard, there are certain barriers outside of their control that I can't do anything but be the best version for me, encourage them to be the best version of themselves, to fix it. And some things I just can't fix. So I do wish I had a magic wand to fix those things.
Answer.
Yeah.
Yes, would like to say that also. Janice has been with us before with this. Congratulations.
I taught Hannah her sophomore year, and then I also taught her color guard for the last 2 years. And then we're currently working together with indoor percussion. And Hannah is a type student for both aspects, education and her extracurriculars, where she just has to know it and has to do things correctly. And she hates to be wrong or to not know what's going on. She definitely always strives to just always be the best she can be.
What inspires me the most to do well is to want to be more like my sister, who was the first in our family to graduate high school and go on to college.
One of my most memorable moments with Hannah was actually the beginning of this school year. Like I said, I taught her for color guard, and the first time I saw her, she was the most uncoordinated, awkward, couldn't keep tempo little girl. And the beginning of this year, we were doing some dancing, and it was during our summer camp, and she had to improv this dance, and it made me cry just to see the difference from how I taught her sophomore year, and then when I came in after a color guard instructor her junior year, and all the growth as a person and a performer that she had.
After I graduate, I plan on going to Nichols and doing my prerequisites there, and then I plan on going into pre-med school, and I want to pursue an education in cardiology, specifically surgery. In 30 years, if everything works out for me, I probably still would be in Louisiana, just because that's where my sister is and she raised me, and my nieces and all that, and I basically take care of them. So I'd probably be working in surgery, probably pediatrics or prenatal.
I became an educator not on purpose. I didn't go to college for education, and I graduated in July, and then I was working at the school as a color guard instructor, and the principal calls me the first day of school, and she's like, "Hey, we have some vacancies. Would you like a job?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." So I went and I interviewed, and I got the job, and then it was supposed to be a temporary situation, but I just fell in love with teaching and stayed teaching.
Originally, I was actually going to choose either my middle school English teacher, which is her aunt, Miss Aber, or Coach Brown, who's taught me for 2 years. But then I kind of thought about it more, and I was like, Miss Kramer has been there through me, like for me through not just class. Like she was there for me through color guard, through my like family experiences. Like she knows what I've been through and how I've dealt with it. Being able to go into my sophomore year, and I'm just like, oh, like she knows what she's doing. Like I'm actually learning something. I'm not teaching myself. That's when it kind of clicked that like, I love Miss Kramer.
As a teacher, my inspirational teacher was Chris Brown. He's the reason I went into college to pursue a forensic science degree, and I am planning to take his job when he retires.
So it definitely makes it different. We were excited to come into the school building, but I feel like it's, to put it in like a weird way, it kind of doesn't connect because we've never been in the building before. So we kind of like, it's not homey yet. Like it's just a sterile building. But I mean, like it's still better than being in torn up portables. So.
I've learned that making relationships with students is so much more important than the education itself. That's how you really get in touch with kids. When you have a relationship with the students you teach, it's so much easier to teach them the content. That's my job, is to teach them the content. But when they like being in your room, they're so much more willing to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, outstanding scholar Hannah Guidry and inspirational educator Ms. Bailey Kramer. Bailey is a repeat offender. She has been here before. Congratulations.
Well, what I remember most about Kylie is at the beginning of the year, she was shy and timid, kind of quiet to herself. And I got to really see her bloom and get a lot of confidence towards the end of the year. And of that year, I think she grew a lot. And she's very self-motivated, was always self-motivated, always strived to do her best in everything that she could. She was very kind and helpful with both me and the other students. She was a good friend to all the other kids, and she was just well-liked by everyone.
I'm inspired to do well in school because I think it was about the 7th grade. I saw my mom and I attended her college graduation after being a student for so many years. And after she got her degree, she really made a career for herself and, you know, established her place. So I just want to be like her, and I want to go to college, earn my degree, and start my career and have like a good career for myself throughout my entire life.
I just remember Kylie being so involved with everything and always having everything she needed, and she was like the perfect student, always.
When I first stepped into her classroom, I just remember, okay, so it was my first day at a new school because I was transitioning from private to public school. So I was a little scared at first, but once I walked into her class, I knew that I was gonna make a lot of friends. I would talk with a lot of my peers, and I knew that right off the bat that she was a really good teacher, and we were gonna learn a lot of great things.
I chose to become an educator because ever since a young age, I just love children and love doing things with kids, and it's a big part of my family. My brother and my sister were both teachers, and 2 nieces, and I coached when I was younger, so I just wanted to take it further and become a teacher and try to get the best potential I could out of the kids that I taught.
I chose Ms. Sayrosh as my inspirational educator because, I don't know if you know this, but like, you taught me how to like put my work first and then play after. So like, I just remember like you always like saying, oh, get your work done, and then you can talk to your friends after. So that's kind of been like my standard throughout my, you know, educational years after, is that if I wanted, you know, to go out with my friends or something or go somewhere with them, I had to make sure my homework was like done first, or like my study was done first, and then I played after. So I just took my experience from Ms. Sayrosh's class and had it as my study habit throughout the rest of my high school career.
My kindergarten teacher, Miss Carolyn Martin, was my neighbor behind my house, and all the neighborhood kids went to her, and she was just so good with us and taught us things. She had a little classroom set up in her living room, and I'll always remember that. That's something I'll always remember. And a few other teachers, I mean, I had one teacher at Bayou Blue, Miss Hickman, and she would do things like, one time she clipped a guy's fingernail off, and we grew bacteria on it in a Petri dish. So it's just things like that that you remember, fun stuff.
After I graduate from Terrebonne, I plan on attending UL in the fall, and I plan to major in accounting. If everything works out for me, I see myself owning my own like accounting business, managing other businesses, and telling them how to manage their money, you know, doing accounting things.
I think when we were growing up, our parents were more involved. They didn't have like our moms didn't have to work and different things like that. Now everybody's so busy, and instead of spending family time together, it's pushed off to a computer or some kind of electronic device, and I just would like to see that come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, inspirational educator, Ms. Jenny DeRoche, and outstanding scholar, Kali Ogeron. Jenny was at Lisa Park. She is now retired, which is an awesome, awesome treat to get this as a retiree. Man, Lisa Park's representing tonight, too.
I thought it would be a challenge because she is my daughter, and I thought we'd have personality clashes. What I do in the classroom mainly is the book work, the paperwork, and Mr. Buff brings them into the shop and teaches them the hands-on. So she was in the shop when she decided she was going to compete in skills. He's like, well, we need to work on her skills instead of the book work right away, so that way she has a chance to compete. And so she was in the shop with him a lot. And the times she was in class, she kind of struggled with the book work and stuff. And I treated her just like everybody. One time she refused to do an assignment, and I sent her to intervention. And we have to call in the walkie-talkie. And so everybody knew when I sent her to intervention that, well, Ms. Vadrine don't play.
Well, she sent me to intervention and gave me punishment or whatever. It made me realize what I did wrong, but it never interfered with anything outside of that. She really picked me up when I was down and pushed me to keep going with what I was doing.
My mom was a bus driver, and in between her route, she was custodian here. And she found that a position came available for a para, and she told me to come and apply. So I did. Well, I was the last hired on at the time, so I had to get transferred to Burke Elementary. And then in 2006, I met my husband, and it took us to St. Landry Parish. So in 2020, where I was working at, the lady knew I was trying to get back into the school system, and her husband's the principal here. And she's like, well, they have an opening. So when I did my interview, it was COVID, so I had to do a FaceTime interview. And he's like, well, the position we have is in an auto body class, an auto mechanic class. Do you mind getting dirty? And it's like, well, I've worked in an auto mechanic class at the time, before. And he's like, really? I said, at the time, I worked at the same school with Mr. Buff. And he's like, well, that's the position we need. So it just so happened that I was able to get back right where I started.
I started off taking CNA to get my medical term to be a veterinarian, but I just couldn't do it because I would get queasy. So my mom recommended me 3 classes. She recommended me this one, carpentry, and machinery. And I took this class, and I learned what I learned, and then competition came around. She's like, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. And I was like, nah. But she kept on and kept on. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Then the next year rolled around, and I took it again. And she's like, you gotta compete again. You did good the first year. You gotta do it this time. It's like, no, I didn't have faith in myself on doing it. And she's like, you got to. She said, you got a possible chance of winning gold. So I was like, all right. So I caved in again. Well, this year, I took it again because the competition was again. She's like, you gotta do it. And I was the same way. I was like, I don't want to. She's like, you got the skill, you got the talent. Try it one more time. This is your last year. So I competed once again. When I first got into it, I thought I wouldn't like it. I thought it would be a challenge, more challenging than a female's position. But I came in here, the guys kind of treated me a little different, but I just sucked up and showed them that I can do what they do.
I've never really had an inspirational teacher until I came here. Mr. Buff is my inspiration. When I started working with him and I seen the kids excited and wanting to come and learn what he's teaching, that made me decide, hey, I'm gonna further my education and become a teacher, which I didn't finish, but I did get started. But it was because of him and the excitement that he brings to the room, to the kids, and he's my inspiration. So I was sitting in class and I got a phone call from our then counselor, and she had asked me, she says, Heidi, she says, last year when Alana competed, she says, did she have braids in her hair? I was kind of confused. I said, yeah. She says, well, she says, we have one of the judges that judged their competition. She says, looking for her. It's like, really? She's like, yes. She says, Mr. Tank at Terrebonne Ford is looking to possibly hire her. And it's like, okay. So she gave me his information and I called and he's like, look, I have been trying to find her, he says, since the competition of last year. He says, I'd like to get with y'all and talk to y'all and possibly offer a position. But she was only 17 and Terrebonne won't hire her until you're 18. So what they did, they took her in once a week as an unpaid intern. And so that way when she did turn 18, she had knowledge and range of what she was going into.
After I graduate from South Terrebonne, I plan on staying at Ford for a little while and see where it takes me from there.
Ladies and gentlemen, inspirational educator Heidi Vadrine and her daughter, Alana Vadrine. Ooh, a lot of good stuff in the family. Very good. Again, Alana and Heidi.
I remember Billy, 8th grade social studies, okay? And she was very eager, okay? Walked into class always smiling, you know. You could tell that she loved school, okay? You can tell that she was eager to learn, okay? I mean, she just wanted to absorb, you know, everything about history in my class. You know, I am so amazed, okay? After 4 years.
Well, before I came into 8th grade, so Miss Wesley taught my dad and my aunt and my sister, and they always said, you're gonna love Miss Wesley. If you have an issue with Miss Wesley, it's not Miss Wesley, it's you. And I was like, oh, okay, like, she must be great, because I always remember everybody always talking about Miss Wesley. They still do. I think my dad's 50 years old, and he still remembers his time in Miss Wesley's classroom. So I was always told, she's an amazing teacher, like, you'll love her. But, I mean, you really don't know. So I came into 8th grade year, and the first thing I noticed about her was she was a firecracker of energy. She ran down the halls, and she just has this way of engaging with the students. You could tell she's really here for the students, and she loves her job. Like, I always will remember her as just loving being here, and she's just truly amazing.
Billy's character, you know, very kind-hearted. Okay, I'm about to cry. But she's very kind-hearted, you know, and very respectful. Not only, you know, to adults, to teachers, also, you know, to her classmates, you know, to her peers, you know. That she was shy, okay, but, you know, she was willing to help. If a student needed help, she would help the student. Okay, that's what I remember about her. And like I say, her smile. She entered the classroom, okay, and she was always smiling, always.
So at first I was very shy and like kind of nervous just around like my peers, like just considering like what they thought about me. But then I realized like once I got to high school, I didn't know there was so many things to do in high school. I just knew I was going to do cheer. And then I realized there were so many more things to do, and I realized the only way to better yourself is if you push yourself. So after I graduated South Terrebonne, I plan on going to Nicholls State University. I plan on majoring in nursing, and I think I might minor in biology. And I want to become a nurse for maybe a couple of years, maybe up to 10 years. I'm thinking about pediatrics. And then after, I hope to further my education, either being a nurse practitioner or a CRNA, which is a certified registered nursing anesthetist.
Education was modified for me when I was growing up. My grandfather was remarkable. It was in the 1930s, okay? And he organized a group of African-American men to raise money, okay, to build a school, an elementary school for African-American students, because they didn't have a school at that time, okay? Now, that determination inspired me, okay? I only knew him for maybe a couple of months before he passed, okay? But the stories that my father told me about him, and just the fact that, he had that initiative, okay, to help build a school. Now, my dad was a go-getter. I'm a go-getter, okay? And he was very determined, and he taught me, to be determined. My mom, she was quiet. I'm quiet, okay? But she was very creative. When we were studying like events in class, okay, or a particular unit, I like to dress up. Okay?
Oh, she does.
Yes, I like to get the students involved, okay? History alive, history comes alive in my class.
I feel like everybody in Miss Wesley's class was very, they all loved her so much that we all, just stayed quiet. And then whenever it was time to engage, we engaged.
I think it's important for students to know about different types of culture. In the world that we live in today, I think that is necessary.
She would say, jump in. Or for the leap test, she would be like, jump in that picture and you don't jump out till you figure out the question. And she's like, imagine a picture of me saying jump in. And she would walk in every single day and say, let's get ready. Let's look at the WOW board. And we'd have our WOW packet, a little bell ringer packet we would do. And then on her test days, she would always she'd be like, this test is gonna be hot. It's gonna be a hot test. And she would show up in her hot tamale, hot pepper dress. She likes to plan her outfits to her lesson plans. She's very engaging.
Teaching here at Montague Middle School, okay, my first few years, okay, got was some really dynamite teachers, okay. I remember my first 2 years here at Montague Middle, and Mr. Aldrich, okay, he guided me. Okay, and I learned a lot about, classroom management from him. But, the teachers here at Montague Middle, okay, they show passion to their students, okay? They showed enthusiasm with their students, okay? It was like a one-on-one with their students. I learned, from previous teachers here at Montague Middle, and also administrators, okay? I learned from my present administrators, that, children comes first. You put them first every day. And so that's what I do. I put them first every day.
Miss Wesley's just very remarkable person. The impact she has on our community is very big, and in her classroom and her peers. She's very smart, but she also knows how to engage with her students. She could always tell when something was off, and she always knew how to make someone feel better. Like, she's just an amazing person.
So because I have the mic, I can say this before they come up. To give away my age just a little bit, I had Miss Wesley 51 years ago. If you were to ask me now, like, who was my inspirational teacher, she's walking up right now. If there's a Mount Rushmore in Montague, she's on the Mount Rushmore of Montague. Miss Wesley, and let's not forget Billy. Billy did an awesome job too, Billy Sheffield. The only thing is, in 1951, she made us do those same packets. 51 years old. I do want to talk to her about the B on it.
B minus.
And all my years of education, if I ever walked in Montague Middle, she knew my name. She knows everybody's name. I know Roy had her for a teacher back then, and I taught Roy, and it's this big circle. It's unbelievable, but again, phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal.
So Miss Tulak, she had to like test me to like get accepted into pre-K. So we were counting bears. We had to count bears, and I had to count like how many blue bears there were, how many red bears, and I think there were like green bears. And like I remember she said like I did good, but she couldn't like really say anything because it was a secret, and they couldn't say like, oh yeah, she's gonna get accepted or whatever. But like I remember she told me like I did really, really good whenever I was counting like the bears and stuff like that before I got accepted into pre-K.
I do remember a lot. Your beaus she was always came to school nicely dressed and always happy, wanting to be at school, wanting to learn, you know, and I just love that. It's just so pleasant to be around, nice to the other friends, always, you know, being kind, and just a lovely child.
What inspires me to do well in school is because, well, my family's full of educators. Everybody in my family does well, so I feel like I just have to follow that. Like, there's no room for failure, and I'll push myself. My daddy pushes me. Like, I'm hard on myself, so yeah, I don't allow myself to fail.
I became a teacher because when I was young, I did poorly in school. I never learned the basics. My parents, I had a twin sister. We had two older siblings. They worked with them, but we got busy with scouts and never had time, you know, to work with us, and I just never caught on. So I always was embarrassed at school. I was in the lowest reading groups, and I didn't want other kids to feel what I felt. So that's why I became a teacher. I just, you know, I wanted them to feel safe and secure and to enjoy learning how to read and write and do math and not sit in the hall covering what you're reading when other big kids were walking by.
After I graduate from Terrebonne, I plan on attending Nichols for nursing to become a nurse anesthetist.
And do you want to stay here or do you want to go somewhere else?
Somewhere else. There's more money.
So see, that's better in another state or a country even, or?
I want to actually travel, like out the country.
Nurse. Or just
like get more experience out the country and then come back here and.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. To use. That's wonderful.
Remember whenever we had the animals come, like the...
Oh yeah, we don't do that anymore. Wasn't that fun? Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, that was great. Oh, the pumpkin patch too. We did the pumpkin patch, and then you got to learn how to hold the pumpkin. Remember, you couldn't hold it by the stem because the stem, what would happen to the stem?
Break.
Yeah, so how'd you have to hold it?
By the bottom.
Yep. I did have a teacher in 10th grade, an English teacher. And the day I walked in, he was sitting behind his podium, and he just smiled and greeted, and he just made you feel welcomed and safe and secure, and he listened to you.
it was either between Miss Tulak or my dad. And I see my daddy every day, and he knows he's an inspiration, but nobody really thinks back to pre-K. And I feel like pre-K is the foundation to our school career. Like, that's where we start at.
Well, I'm a twin, identical twin, and my mom was a nurse at Good Samaritan Hospital, and the doctor said, "Oh, you just had twin girls with red hair." And the TV show's looking for redheads. So we got picked up in a limousine and went down, and we got the part for the baby on Petticoat Junction. So Petticoat Junction's a sister of Green Acres and Beverly Hillbillies.
Petticoat Junction. She just gave me the confidence to like blossom into who I am. Like every day
it was fun having you come in. She could run the class. She was just wonderful. Like just, every day was a good day. She just came in with that smile, cheerfulness, and it was just wonderful. Wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mackenzie Butler and Miss Heather Tulak. We were scrambling to find that Petticoat Junction stuff too. We had to find her when she was a baby.
So I have the pleasure of meeting Devani when she was in 7th grade. My first counseling position was at Oklahoma Middle School, and she was a really petite, as she is now. She was one of the shortest in her class, very reserved student, just eager to learn, hard worker, but very reserved. So you have to kind of go out of your way to make sure she knew who you were rather than the other way around.
My inspiration comes from just being a role model, because I feel like growing up I have like role models at home or that's in at school, so I want to do that to somebody.
Our relationship started to blossom once she got here. We had some interactions at the middle school level, but once she got here, she took an interest in trying to figure out what's next, because, as she said, she didn't have a lot of role models. So 10th grade, Devani, super inquisitive, what's to come next, what's to come next? So she would come in the office. I'm like, hey, look, let's follow the plan. Let's figure it out. She shared what she wanted. And so that's how it kind of started. The most memorable, when I saw her come out of that shell, we were having a conversation. She was asking about if a student at another school was my sibling. And I was like, no, my youngest sister is like making 35. And she's like, no, not your oldest sister, Miss Spencer, like your youngest sister. So from there, I realized that she thought that I was way younger than what I was. And the reservations that she normally had, it was like, wait, no, she got much more expressive than what she normally does. I was like, look at these, because she's normally very guarded and reserved.
My first thoughts on Miss Spencer, I was very caught off guard by her personality, because I feel like I never had met an educator or a teacher or counselor, anybody who had a personality like her. She was very bright and it attracted me to her, but I was also kind of worried and scared. I was confused.
Originally, I was on track to be a biology major, for pre-dentistry to be an orthodontist. I wanted to fix people's smile, especially people that cover up their smile. I'm like, oh, I want to help them out with that. So then did a career interest survey, landed into psychology because it wasn't so much about the teeth as much as it was about them feeling good about their smile. So psych, I love the youth, I want to make a change, school counseling, and that's how I ended up here.
After I graduate from Ellender, I plan on attending LSU for nursing. 30 years from now, I see myself as a successful pediatric nurse.
I didn't have a lot of influences growing up. I'm a first generation. My mom had 5 kids very young. However, her biggest thing was you get an education and make something of yourself. So sometimes I would pay attention to different people, but a lot of people didn't show interest into me. And I think that's where a lot of my passion comes in at, to help students know that I see them. I make it a point to memorize names. I memorize a lot of things about them that they don't even remember that they share with me.
When I got to middle school and stuff, I didn't have no knowledge on what was to come after high school and stuff. And I was very scared to ask, because I feel like for everybody else, it's like a common subject, like you know what to do. And for me, it wasn't, because as a first generation, like I said, I don't have role models. And Ms. Spencer made me feel comfortable enough to ask those questions, and like she went above and beyond to research what I needed to do and like plan out what were my next steps.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, Ms. Janice Spencer. This is the 3rd time Janice has been here in the last 3 years. Again, a nice round of applause for Janice.
So she comes in, and of course she plays softball. So, I'm like, I gotta meet this kid, okay? And she comes in, and I'm going, how am I gonna move this kid? She came from a GT setting. How am I gonna move this kid who's already scoring top notch? So I challenged her, and I said, I want you to do this. Can you do it? And what did she do? She did it. So we're looking at a very nice ACT score. I don't know if I can tell, but she came in with a 28,
something like that.
and now we're sitting at a composite 31. So she's gonna get that extra TOPS money. And also, we studied the Canterbury Tales. And I never have students who really wanna be the wife of Bath. Now we're talking the voluptuous woman of the 1300s. We like boys to play it, so we can get a kick out of it. Well, she says, I'll be the wife of Bath. So I was surprised that a girl would want to be the wife of Bath, but she did it.
I want to do well in school because I really want more for myself and my future. And I have younger siblings behind me, and I want to show them that despite anything that we have going on or anything that they might see, there's still a chance to do better and be better. And I just want to set an example for the people coming after me. After I graduate from HL Bourgeois, I plan on going to UL, and I plan on studying chemical engineering. Yeah, I plan on studying chemical engineering, and after that I want to go be an engineer. I'm not 100% sure. I think I might want to also go to the oil field, or if not, into the textile industry.
So the question came up one day in class, and the kid said, I said, what would I do if I wasn't a teacher? I didn't grow up yet. And they said, you can't do anything else. You are a teacher. So I don't think I'd be doing anything else. But then I love sports. So I said, you know what? Could I have been a sportscaster? Maybe.
So the first time I walked into Ms. Overly's class, I had already heard a bit about her from other students that had already had her. So I was kind of excited. And then whenever I walked in, I was like, oh, it's true. She does seem fun and cool. Except I was a little nervous because I'm not a big fan of English either. But I mean, she really made me like it and enjoy the class either way.
A lot of the changes that I see is that we're more test-oriented, and that becomes a little difficult sometimes when the kids look at us and we test all the time. Yes, they do. Unfortunately, that's a little tough, but at the end of the day, kids are still kids. It's just different social aspects that have changed. But textbooks, technology are the biggest.
I love talking to her. I love being in her class. I was really struggling in English before I came to her class. Maybe not with the subject itself, but with staying engaged and
pushing myself in it, and I found that Miss Overly really pushes me like to my limits, and she finds ways to like keep me on task and like in the class.
Ladies and gentlemen, Naya Verdant and Miss Jerry Overly. We already have the certificate made out for Jerry for next year. It's already done. Unless she retires right now. A little bit longer. Good. The special part of the night. It's special for two reasons. Because it's so fun to see kids get scholarships. But it's special because I'm never going to announce the name of these the titles. I know their names, but the titles. But I'm going to give it a good shot, and don't yell at me if it's not. Every year, Nicholls State University and Fletcher come here, and they give a scholarship to one of these inspirational scholars. They're doing that again this year. So first, I am going to call up Renee Hicks from Nicholls State University. Renee is the Assistant Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness, Access, and Success. Very good. Everybody, Renee Hicks.
Thank you very much. And I had a little misinformation because I did not know a lot of you who said you were coming for nursing and pre-med were coming to Nicholls. So I'm going to go back and look at you all, and I'll be in touch shortly. Because I was not told y'all were all coming to Nicholls, so I will be back in touch. Absolutely. And I was going to say, just to support Miss Peoples here, we'll make sure all these healthcare professionals get into college and get some support. We do have a brand new nursing building opening up in the fall, so you are going to have some more state-of-the-art facilities available, and we are going to be able to accept more nurses into our clinical programs, so it will progress you through your process quicker. So that's exciting news. Probably about 50% more nurses in each cohort. So we're going to be filling a need in the region. The one I am giving out tonight is to Miss Trinity Williams. I'll give it to you.
Thank you, Renee. Is it? My understanding is Trinity is at a track meet tonight. And as a coach, you don't miss a track meet. Next up is Anna. Anna Nanny is actually on the board. So that's awesome that we have somebody local from Fletcher who is on the board for the TFAE. She is, I'm going to get this title right, the Vice Chancellor for Enrollment and Student Development. All right, here we go.
Thank you. He killed it on those titles, right? I don't want to call you out, but you are reading it.
I can't read it. Thank you, Ms. Wesley.
Like he said, I'm Anna. I'm with Fletcher, and I also have the privilege of serving on the TFAE board. And it is always exciting to be here tonight and to get to look at the applications for the outstanding students that are in this parish. It's so inspiring, even though I'm an old lady now. You young folks have such a road ahead of you, and we're excited to see what you get up to. So we have selected to award a scholarship to Alana Vadrine to enroll at Fletcher. Congratulations. Do a picture?
Thank you. Photograph. Again, a huge thanks to Nicholls and Fletcher for stepping up. They've done this for about the last 5 years. It's something we didn't have before, and we appreciate it very, very much. Now, I am going to call up Mr. Danny Walker. There he is. Danny is going to actually hand out something that, and I don't want to steal his thunder because I know that he was a charter member with Mr. James. So that's a situation where he'll explain to you this award and the person who's receiving it and what it's all about. Mr. Danny Walker.
Thank you, Stan. This is the Jimmy Buquet Award of Distinction that's awarded every year to a citizen in the community who is a graduate of a public high school in Terrebonne Parish. Jimmy Buquet, 40 years ago, was the driving force who actually got together the funds that created the initial local education fund, which is Terrebonne Academic Excellence Foundation. And 40 years ago, when I was 9 years old, Jimmy was the person that actually stepped up. I mean, I went to many people in the community, and while people had a lot of enthusiasm for the institution, for the foundation, nobody stepped up with the money, but Jimmy did. And he ultimately created a fund which is over $100,000 of his own money. I mean, and this was a long time ago when $100,000 was a lot of money. And it's a lot of money today, but it was even more then. So this award is something that was, that was created in honor of him because he felt like this would inspire people to really get involved and to value the public education, because public education in every community is the backbone of the economy. Well, we have private schools and we have other things, but the education of the people actually determines the success of a community. And so it's a great honor to give this award on his behalf. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get emotional talking about this, but you have to forgive me. But our recipient tonight is somebody that is near and dear to everybody's heart in here. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to read it off of my phone. But our recipient tonight is a graduate of Terrebonne High School in 1975. He graduated from Louisiana State University in 1980. He got a master's from Nichols in 1986 in administration supervision. He worked 33 years in the Terrebonne Parish School Board. He was the president of retired teachers for 2 years. He's a member of Omega Psi Phi, a member of the Terrebonne Athletic Hall of Fame, a member of TPR Coaches Hall of Fame. He is someone that they say that his work and influence extended into broader conversations affecting the state of Louisiana, especially in areas like community development and public policy. He collaborated with state leaders. He contributed to initiatives that connected local needs with state-level decision-making. He's an advocacy for equity, helping bring attention to issues affecting underserved communities across Louisiana. And he was inducted into the Bayou Region Athletic Hall of Fame and the South Terrebonne Athletic Hall of Fame. Without ado, I'd like to recognize Mr. Ernest Brown.
He's going to say a few words.
Here.
Good evening. Definitely a pleasant surprise. I guess longevity has its perks. I started teaching when I was 22 years old, and I left Baton Rouge with an opportunity to stay there. Had some chances to work at other high schools, but I wanted to come back to Houma. I wanted to make Houma my home. I graduated from Terrebonne. I wanted to work at Terrebonne High School. Had opportunities again to stay in coaching and do those things, but I wanted kids to see the impact that education and sports could have on their life. Education opens up opportunities. It gives you a chance to foster relationships, friendships, and everything else. Sports gave me an opportunity to go places. I left Terrebonne High in 1975, 17 years old, and went to Iowa, of all places. I spent 2 years in Iowa. The weather was too cold, 30, 40 below zero, and I definitely wanted to come back home. LSU was the place that I wanted to be. I ended up being a walk-on, and I made the team. We were SEC champions and all of that stuff, got a chance to play in a lot of arenas. But, you know, I want to leave with the note that when you're in education, you're not in education to make a lot of money. I have never met a rich teacher. I've met a teacher that have impacted kids, and tonight we recognize those people. I think the thing that I want to say that set me apart is that I love kids, I love teaching, I love coaching, I love motivating and impacting. I like being involved. If there's a positive thing to do, I want to be a part of it. And I'm going to leave this with the kids. Separate yourself from negativity. Search for peace in life. And you're going to find peace when you surround yourself around good people. I've been very fortunate to have good people in my life. I've worked with a lot of those folks I still see on the battlefield. My son, daughter asked me why I can't stay at home. I just like being busy. I've worked with the recreation department, and I've worked with the school system 33 years, came back and worked at Oaklawn 3 years, and now substituting. I'm getting too old. I've worked with great faculties. I'll be 69 this year. So longevity has its perks. Thank you for what you have recognized, and I appreciate everything that someone has done in my life. Thank you.
Just bring your board with you. No, I'm just taking Kim and Dan. There. Sorry I had to lie to you, by the way. We had a surprise event. Eleanor. He was taken off guard for sure.
Again, ladies, Mr. Ernest Brown, Sr.